Most people use Claude the same way. Open a tab, type a question, read the answer, and then close the tab. That's fair enough. And I did the same thing for the first few months, but that's about 20% of what's actually available. Hi, I'm Adrian from Ahead AI, and I help non-technical people learn AI basics to get ahead. Claude isn't one product, it's a suite of products, and most of that suite is invisible until you go looking for it. 4 ways to use it, 2 features that change what all 4 can do, and 1 thing to understand before you touch any of them. 7 things in total. I'm going to walk you through every one. But before we get to the 7, the gap nobody talks about. The chat-only approach has a cost that's easy to miss. You ask Claude something, it answers, and you copy it and you move on. That seems fine. What you don't notice is the repetition. Every new session, you're back to zero. Claude doesn't know who you are, your tone, your audience, or what you spent the last hour building. You rebuild it from scratch every time. But the bigger gap is delegation. What makes Claude useful to a busy professional isn't its ability to just answer questions. Any search engine does that. What Claude can do when you're using the right product is handle actual work, like read your emails, organize your files, draft responses, build something from scratch and hand you back a result, a finished result. That's a different category of useful, and most people have never touched it. So let's start with number 1, Claude AI, where everyone starts. This is the version most people know. Go into Claude AI in any browser on any device. It syncs across web, phone, and desktop. Good for quick writing, research, thinking something through, or getting a first draft on a page. If you're new to Claude, this is where you can begin. Inside Claude AI, there's one feature that fixes the repetition problem I just described. It's called projects. You create a project for a recurring area of your work. You paste in some background context once, who you are, what you're working on, how you want things written. From that point on, every session inside that project starts with Claude already knowing the context. If you're starting from scratch every session, setting up one project this week is the fastest improvement you can make. Number 2 is Cowork, Claude on your actual computer. Cowork is a desktop app. It gives Claude access to the files on your computer, not just the ability to talk about files, to open them, edit them, save new ones, work on them while you get on with something else. With chat, you're asking Claude questions. With Cowork, you're assigning Claude tasks. Here's what that looks like in practice. You connect it to your email. You tell Cowork, read every email from the last 48 hours. Summarize the ones that need a reply. Draft replies in my tone, flag anything urgent. You come back 20 minutes later. The drafts are there. You review, adjust, and send. Or you connect a folder of documents and say, read all of these. Pull out deadlines, open questions, or action items. Put them in a table sorted by date. 10 minutes of manual work, done. Cowork is built for people who don't code. If you've ever thought, I wish AI could just do this for me instead of explaining how. Cowork is exactly that. You write the task in plain English. It does the task on your computer. For most people watching, this is the one with the biggest payoff. And number 3 is Dispatch, Claude working at home while you're somewhere else. Dispatch lets you assign a task from your phone. The task runs on your desktop, in the office, or at home. You're at a coffee shop, something comes up. You send the task from your phone. Claude works on your computer using your actual files and sends you the result. What makes it more than just a novelty? It's one continuous thread. Start a task on the commute, follow up on your laptop when you sit down. Same conversation. No re-explaining. One thing worth knowing though, your desktop has to be on and connected for Dispatch to run. Number 4 is Claude Code, for building actual software. Claude Code writes, tests and debugs real software. You describe what you want and it builds it. This is not a tool for developers only. If you can clearly describe what something should do, that description is enough to start. People with no technical background like myself are building automations, simple apps, and tools to process their own data with it. The caveat I want to be clear about is Claude Code does get things wrong. Review what it builds before you run it on anything that matters. If you're not sure what a piece of code is doing, ask Claude Code to explain it in plain English, and it will. The 2-minute check is the difference between a useful tool and an avoidable mistake. Number 5 is plugins, connecting Claude to the tools you already use. Plugins are pre-built connectors that give Claude access to other software you use. Install a Gmail plugin, and Claude can read your inbox and draft replies. Or install a Notion plugin, and it can search and update your notes. A calendar plugin lets it check your schedule before booking anything. You're not building these connections. You're choosing from a library of them. Read the permissions before you click. Browse the plugins list inside Cowork or Claude Code once. Most people find 3 or 4 that apply to their work straight away. One thing to read carefully, the permissions each plugin requests. Some ask for read-only access. Some ask for read and write. Know what you're approving before you click through. Number 6 is skills. They teach Claude how you want specific tasks done. A skill is a folder of written instructions. It tells Claude exactly how to handle one specific task. You write it once, and Claude reads it automatically every time that task comes up. For example, you might create a skill called Weekly Client Summary. Inside, you write format as a bullet list. Start with open actions, deadlines in bold, under 200 words. Professional but direct tone. From that point on, every client summary Claude produces follows those rules, without you typing them again. Skills work across Claude Chat, Cowork, and Code. Write them for any task you do more than twice. Next, safety and permissions. Cowork and Dispatch access your actual files. Plugins connect to real accounts, your email, your calendar, your tools. The outputs have real consequences. 3 rules before you go further. 1. Read the permissions screen on every plugin and Cowork connection. It takes about 30 seconds and tells you exactly what access you're granting. 2. Start Cowork with access to one folder, not your whole computer. Expand once you understand what it's doing. 3. For anything high stakes, Claude drafts it. You review it, you act on it. The time saved is still real. The risk is close to 0. None of this is a reason to avoid the tools. It's a reason to use them deliberately, not on autopilot. So where do you actually start? You don't need all 7 at once. If you're in the chat-only stage, start with projects inside Claude AI today. Set one up, paste in a paragraph about who you are and what you're working on. Every session inside that project starts with the context already there. Once that habit is built, move on to Cowork. And if you're already on Cowork, plugins are probably your next gain. Look at the software you use every day. If there's a plugin for it, you can install it. There's a 5-minute setup, recurring payoff you get every session after. And keep Claude Code in view, even if you're not ready for it today. The list of things that require a developer is shorter than it was just a few weeks ago. So the path is pretty simple, one thing at a time. Projects today, Cowork this week, plugins next. Skills when you spot a task you're doing more than twice, and Claude Code when you're ready. That's pretty much the order. And if you want more details on a full Cowork setup, I walk through it in my Substack newsletter, link in the description below. So I hope that's been helpful. Have a play around, and I hope you learn lots. See you in the next video.